Good afternoon, football fans, and happy early year to you. Big Al here on this Thursday, December 29th, 2022. And we are about to run into the final video of the year 2022 as we'll take a look at my Week 17 picks, as well as the maps for all the Sunday afternoon games, the announcers for each game, the updated playoff races in the NFL, and clinching scenarios entering this weekend. And I like to start off, as I always do, taking a look at the rundown of the Week 17 schedule, as we will have our last Thursday night and Monday night games of the season this week. So the final Thursday night game is tonight. That's the Dallas Cowboys at the Tennessee Titans. The Cowboys looking to ride that momentum into the playoffs, while the Titans are trying to stop the bleeding of a 5-game losing streak that they're currently on. So that game is tonight. Then on Sunday afternoon, you'll have 13 games on the schedule. 7 games will be aired by Fox, 6 by CBS. You'll have 9 games total in the 1 p.m. Eastern window and 4 games in the late window. So Fox will be airing 7 games of regional interest across the country on Sunday, with the early games being highlighted by the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Other games airing on Fox in that slot are the New Orleans Saints at the Philadelphia Eagles, the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions, the Cleveland Browns, and the Washington Commanders, and the Arizona Cardinals at the Atlanta Falcons. The 2 games in the late window on Fox will begin at 4:05 Eastern Time. The San Francisco 49ers at the Las Vegas Raiders, and the New York Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. CBS will air 6 games as part of their doubleheader, 4 in the early 1 p.m. Eastern window, highlighted by the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. There's also the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. And in Game 2 of the doubleheader on CBS at 4:25 Eastern, most of the country will be seeing the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Others will get the Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Chargers in the Battle of the City of Angels. Now, that latter game was the scheduled Sunday night game, but it has been flexed out for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. So that game instead will be playing on Sunday night. And then the final Monday night game of the season is a pretty big one in the AFC playoff race, as the Buffalo Bills visit the jungle to face the Cincinnati Bengals, with both teams battling for home field advantage, I should say, in the AFC playoffs. All right, a quick note for tonight's game between the Cowboys and Titans. It will be locally televised in Dallas-Fort Worth on KDFW Channel 4 and in Nashville on WTVF News Channel 5. Okay, I got bots in my chat. Let me get rid of them. Done. All right. So with that, we're going to go right into the Week 17 schedule and into my picks. Starting off with the Thursday night football season finale as the 11-4 Dallas Cowboys, fresh off of last week's big home win against the Philadelphia Eagles, ventured into Nashville to face the slumping Tennessee Titans at 7-8 and on a 5-game losing streak, and they find themselves tied with the Jaguars atop the AFC South. That game is tonight at 8:15 on Prime Video with your announcers Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. The current point spread of this game as of 3 p.m. Eastern Time is Dallas minus 14, and the over-under is 40. Point spreads and total courtesy of the Sports Alerts app. And the maps and announcers for every game is courtesy of 506sports.com. I have a link in the description if you want to check that out. Now, these maps can change at any moment, so check back with them over the next few days to see if there is any changes at all. I picked the Cowboys to win this game big, 34-14, because it looks like Tennessee is pretty much giving up on their season. From what I'm hearing, they're resting many of their key starters. I mean, Ryan Tannehill is injured. Derrick Henry is not expected to play tonight. He's going to get rest for next week's showdown in Jacksonville. And quite a few other key players for the Titans also not suiting up for this one. So again, I have the Cowboys winning this game 34-14. I have the game going over 40 points. And it's kind of hard not to take Dallas minus the 14 points, given all the issues that the Titans have right now. Okay, let's move on to the Sunday portion of the schedule. And yes, Sunday is New Year's Day, so we're going to be busy on that day. The first game we'll be taking a look at is a rather meaningless game pitting the 4-11 Arizona Cardinals and the 5-10 Atlanta Falcons, both of which are eliminated from playoff contention. This game is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, this game is shaded in purple. All right, the main Fox stations are KSAZ Channel 10 Phoenix and WAGA Channel 5 Atlanta, both of which are Fox-owned and operated stations. And this game is primarily being seen in Arizona and Georgia. Tucson, Macon, Columbus, Augusta, and Savannah are the only major markets getting this game outside of Phoenix and Atlanta. The announcers are Jason Benetti and not Brock Quinn, but rather Brady Quinn. Now, this is one of the college football broadcast teams for Fox. I have the Falcons winning this game 23-13. I have the game going under 42 points, and I'm taking the Falcons minus 3.5. Quick note from this game, Colt McCoy looks to play this week after having been in concussion protocol the last couple of games. All right, the big game in the early window is the 6-9 Carolina Panthers and the 7-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing battle on the pirate ship that is Raymond James Stadium. This is for supremacy in the rather weak NFC South. This game is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. And once again, I'll tell you about all the clinching scenarios towards the end of this video, so stay tuned. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, link in the description below. This game is shaded in red. The main Fox stations are WJZY Channel 46 in Charlotte and Fox owned and operated WTVT Channel 13 in Tampa Bay. Major markets outside Charlotte and Tampa Bay getting this game include Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, Little Rock, St. Louis, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Birmingham, Louisville, Lexington, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh-Durham, Tallahassee, Orlando, and Fort Myers. The announcers for this game are Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. Current point spread is Tampa Bay -3, over-under is 40.5. And I can't see the Buccaneers losing to the Panthers twice. That being said, I'm taking Tampa to win this one and hold serve on the home field. 24-21 Bucks. Game finish is over 40.5. And I'm pushing the total in this game. All right, on to another divisional matchup. The 3-12 Chicago Bears headed into Motown to face the 7-8 Detroit Lions, fresh off of last week's loss to the Panthers, just their second in 8 games. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the 506sports.com map, or at least on the Fox map, I should say, on 506sports.com. I'm getting my words mixed up. The Bears and Lions are shaded in green. Major markets getting this game include Omaha, Des Moines, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, and Grand Rapids, as well as Toledo, Ohio. Main stations are WFLD Channel 32 in Chicago and WJBK Channel 2 in Detroit, both Fox-owned and operated stations. The announcers are Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. Current point spreads, Detroit -6, over-unders 52. I'm going to take the Lions on their home field to win 27-17. I have the game going under 52 points. And I like Detroit -6 to cover the spread. Up next is the 6-9 Cleveland Browns and the 7-1 Washington Commanders. If the season ended right now, they would be a playoff team. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, this game is in orange. Main Fox stations are WJW Channel 8 Cleveland and Fox-owned and operated WTTG Channel 5 in Washington, D.C. And this is a pretty limited coverage area. Major markets outside Cleveland and Washington receiving this game include Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Richmond, and Norfolk. The announcers for this game are Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth. Current point spread is Washington -1. Over-under is at 40. And there's some news from this game. Apparently, the Commanders have gone back to Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback. Taylor Heineke looks like he will not be playing this one. Either way, I have the Commanders winning 24-14. I have the game going under 40 points. And I'm taking the Commanders -1. Our next game is the 4-11 Denver Broncos, who were just blasted and blitzed on Christmas Day by the Rams, allowing 51 points and getting Nathaniel Hackett fired as head coach the very next day. They're off the Arrowhead to face Patrick Mahomes and the 12-3 Chiefs, coming off a 24-10 win over the Seahawks. This game is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. On the CBS early map on 506sports.com, this game is shaded in green. Main CBS stations for this game are owned and operated KCNC Channel 4 in Denver and affiliate KCTV Channel 5 in Kansas City. Major markets getting this game include San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, Reno, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, San Antonio, Austin, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, Colorado Springs, Omaha, Des Moines, St. Louis. And that's all of them. The announcers are Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta. Current point spread is Kansas City minus 12.5. And the over-under is at 45 points. I have the Chiefs winning straight up 31-23. I have the game going over 45. But since I don't trust the Kansas City Chiefs to cover large spreads, I'm going with Denver plus the 12.5. That's a big hook there, folks. Okay, our next game is the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants. Indy comes in with this into this game 4-10-1, while the G-Men come in at 8-6-1. And the Giants can actually get into the playoffs with a win and a little bit of help this week. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. On the CBS early map on 506sports.com, this game is shaded in blue. Main CBS stations are WTTV Channel 4 and WTTK Channel 29 in Indianapolis, and CBS owned and operated and network flagship WCBS Channel 2 in New York. Major markets outside of Indy and NYC getting this game are Seattle, Spokane, Dallas, Fort Worth, Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. The announcers for this game are Kevin Harlan and Trent Green. Current point spread is the Giants at minus 5.5, and the over-under is set at 38 points. I'm taking the G-Men to take this one 23-17, at this game finishing barely over 38. And I'm taking New York minus the 5.5 points. All right, now we got a clash in the AFC South as our next game, as the 7-8 and division co-leading Jacksonville Jaguars. If the season ended right now, they would be division champs, thanks to Tennessee's collapse. They traveled to the Space City to face the 12-1 Houston Texans, who last week ended their 9-game losing streak by knocking off the said Titans in Nashville. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. On the CBS early map on 506sports.com, this game is shaded in yellow. Main CBS stations are WJAX Channel 47 in Jacksonville and KHOU Channel 11 in Houston. And this game is pretty much limited to the Houston area, portions of Tennessee, and some of northern Florida as well. Nashville, Knoxville, Tallahassee, and Orlando are the only major markets outside of Houston and Jacksonville receiving this game. The announcers are Andrew Catalan and James Lofton. Current point spread is Jacksonville minus 4, over-unders 43. I got the Jags winning 24-19, pushed the total here at 43, and I'm taking Jacksonville minus the 4. All right. From an AFC South Division matchup to an AFC East Division matchup, and this is a pretty big game for both teams involved. The 8-7 Miami Dolphins trying to end a 4-game losing streak. They head to Foxborough to face the 7-8 New England Patriots. As of right now, if the season were to end, the Dolphins would be in the playoffs. The Patriots would not. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. And this is the main game of interest in the early window on CBS. On the CBS early map on 506points.com, this game is shaded in red. Your main CBS stations are WFOR Channel 4 in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WBZ TV Channel 4 in Boston, both CBS owned and operated stations. Major markets outside Boston and Miami getting this game include Portland, Los Angeles, San Diego, Bakersfield, Phoenix, Tucson, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Little Rock, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson. I couldn't read that for a second. Sorry about that. Memphis, Birmingham, Atlanta, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Durham, Norfolk, Richmond, Louisville, Lexington, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Hartford, and Providence. The announcers are Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. The current point spread is New England -3, and the over-under is at 41. All right, and another quick note from this game. Tua Tagovailoa is back in concussion protocol after suffering a head injury in the Christmas Day loss to the Green Bay Packers. And so Teddy Bridgewater will be under center for Miami. Whether it's Tua or Bridgewater, I'm still taking the Patriots to win this game 26-14. I have the game going just a point below 41. And I'm taking New England -3. The last of the early games on Sunday is the 6-9 New Orleans Saints, who somehow, someway are still alive for the NFC South title. They're about to march into the city of brotherly love to face the 13-2 Philadelphia Eagles, who should be angry after turning the ball over 4 times in a 40-34 loss in Dallas on Christmas Eve. And it looks like Gardner Minshew may be the starting quarterback once again for the Eagles, as Jalen Hurts is still trying to recoup from that shoulder injury from a week and a half ago. Saints and Eagles is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, this game is shaded in blue. Main Fox stations are Fox affiliate WVUE Channel 8 in New Orleans and Fox owned and operated WTXF Channel 29 in Philadelphia. Major markets outside New Orleans and Philly receiving this game include Los Angeles, El Paso, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Jackson, Harrisburg, and Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. The announcers are Joe Davis and Daryl the Moose Johnston. Current point spread is Philly -6.5, over-under is 42. I'm taking the Eagles to win this game 28-16. I think they'll limit the turnovers and play much better defense than they did against the Cowboys. I have the game finishing under 40, or rather over 42 points. And I'm taking Philadelphia -6.5. All right, that brings us to our 4 late games. Starting things off with the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams at 7-8, and both teams on the outside looking into the playoffs in their respective conferences. So, if you will, this may very well be an elimination game, if you will. Sunday at 4:05 Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, this game is shaded in light blue. The main Fox stations are WNYW Channel 5 in New York and KCPQ Channel 13 in Seattle, both of which are Fox-owned and operated stations. Major markets outside New York and Seattle getting this game include Spokane, Portland, Boise, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Boston, Providence, Hartford, Jacksonville, West Palm Beach, and Miami, Fort Lauderdale. The announcers are Chris Myers and Robert Smith. Current point spread is the New York Jets -1, over unders 42.5. I have the Jets winning 26-20 and covering that single point. And I have the game going over 42.5. Next up is the 11-4 San Francisco 49ers, probably the hottest team in football right now, winners of 8 in a row, taking on the 6-9 Las Vegas Raiders, who are still mathematically alive for the playoffs, but they have a very slim chance of getting in. This game is Sunday at 4:05 Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map at 506sports.com, this game is shaded in yellow. Main Fox stations are Fox-owned and operated KTVU Channel 2 in San Francisco and KVVU Channel 5 in Las Vegas. Major markets outside Vegas and San Fran getting this game include San Diego, Sacramento, Reno, Fresno, Bakersfield, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, Denver, Colorado Springs, Houston, Kansas City, and Indianapolis. The announcers are Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez. Current point spread is San Francisco -10, over unders 41.5. And this is going to be a blitzkrieg. I have San Fran winning this game 38-16. I have them covering the 10 points, and I got this game shooting well over 41.5. Now, there was a quarterback change made this week. Derek Carr has been benched by the Raiders, so that means Jarrett Stidham, the former Patriot, will be starting for Vegas over these final 2 games. All right, now we made it to game 2 of CBS's doubleheader. The first game we'll look at is the Battle of Los Angeles. Kind of like a Rage Against the Machine album from 1999. 5-10 Los Angeles Rams at the 9-6 Los Angeles Chargers. Sunday at 4:25 Eastern on CBS. On the CBS late map on 506sports.com, this game is shaded in blue. Both the Rams and Chargers Los Angeles, a CBS-owned and operated station, and the network's West Coast flagship. And this game is pretty much being seen in Southern California, as San Diego and Bakersfield are the only major markets receiving this game. Santa Barbara is included in this as well. And I think that this game is also being seen in southwestern Oregon. The announcers for this game are Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely. Current point spread is the Chargers -6.5. Over under is 43. I'm going to take the Chargers straight up 27-24, but I'm taking the Rams as the visitor in their home field at +6.5 points. I have the game going over 43. Now, the game that about 95% of the country will be watching is the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. The NFC North champion Vikings come in with a 12-3 record, while the Packers playing a lot better over the past month. Sit at 7-8 and right in the thick of the chase in the NFC playoff picture. Sunday at 4:25 Eastern on CBS. And since this is the national game of interest in the second half of the doubleheader, the CBS late map on 506sports.com has this game shaded in red. Main CBS stations are WCC Channel 4 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is a CBS owned and operated station, and CBS affiliates WFRV Channel 5 locally in Green Bay, and their big city affiliate WDJT Channel 58 in Milwaukee. So this game is pretty much being seen in areas that's not getting the Rams-Chargers game. That includes Seattle, Spokane, Portland, San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, Reno, and Las Vegas. And this game will also be airing on every CBS station in the Eastern, Central, and Mountain time zones. So again, that's about 95% of the country getting this game. The announcers are Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Current point spread is Green Bay -3. Over under is 47.5. Okay, now the Minnesota Vikings have been the luckiest team in the NFL in 2022. 11 of their 12 wins this season have come by one score or less. And the Vikings beat the Packers in Minneapolis earlier this year. And I'm like, I don't see the Vikings going into Lambeau and completing the sweep. Plus, the Packers are playing very, very well. That said, I have Green Bay winning a shootout 31-26. I have the game going over 47.5, and I'm taking the Packers -3. Okay, we made it to Sunday Night Football, and the game that was flexed in to replace the Rams and Chargers is the 7-8 Pittsburgh Steelers, who also are still alive in the AFC playoff picture, facing off with the 10-5 and their longtime arch rivals, the Baltimore Ravens, who are already in the playoffs. Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern on NBC. The main NBC stations for this game are WPXI Channel 11 in Pittsburgh and WBAL TV Channel 11 in Baltimore. The announcers are Mike Tirico and Chris Collins. Current point spread is Baltimore -2.5. Over under is 35. And I think that Todd Hundley will be starting again for Baltimore as Lamar Jackson is still nursing an injury. And again, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his career as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The team itself has not had a losing season since 2003. At that time, Bill Cowher was the head coach. And I think the Steelers are going to march into Baltimore and steal one from their hated rival. That said, I have Pittsburgh winning 17-13 in a defensive game. I have it under 35 points, and I'm taking the Steelers +2 and the hook. And that brings us to the massive AFC tilt on Monday Night Football. And what a way to wrap up the Monday night schedule. The 12-3 and AFC East champion Buffalo Bills traveled to the jungle to face the 11-4 and current AFC North leaders, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, both teams have a lot to play for, and I'll discuss that in just a sec. This game is Monday at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. The announcers for this game are Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And the main ABC stations are WKBW Channel 7 in Buffalo and WCPO Channel 9 in Cincinnati. Current point spread is a pick'em, and this again is as of 3 p.m. Eastern time. The over-under is at 49.5. I got to take the Bills here. They're just too talented. Buffalo 28, Cincinnati 24. I have the game going over the 49.5 points. And I'm taking Buffalo in that pick'em. All right, so those are my picks. The announcers for each game and the maps for all the Sunday afternoon games. Now we're about to get into these clinching scenarios for week number 17 in the NFL, or entering week number 17 in the NFL. And we'll start off with the AFC this week. There's not much to discuss here. All right, so the Buffalo Bills at 12-3, currently sitting at number 1 spot. I've already locked up the AFC East, as I already alluded to. They can outright clinch the number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the postseason with a win in Cincinnati on Monday night, plus a Kansas City loss. Now, these clinching scenarios are courtesy of NFL.com. The 2-seeded Kansas City Chiefs have already claimed their division as well. They have no clinching scenarios this week, and they would lose the head-to-head tie with Buffalo. And they got to worry about who's behind them, because they would lose the head-to-head to our next team, the Cincinnati Bengals, currently in that 3 spot with an 11-4 record. And they've already clinched the playoff berth. Cincinnati can wrap up the AFC North with a win over Buffalo, plus a Baltimore loss or tie to the Steelers. Or Cincinnati ties Buffalo, and Baltimore would have to lose outright to the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, the 4 seed is Jacksonville at 7-8. They will win the AFC South by either winning both of their remaining games or splitting their remaining games. Now, if you're going to split the remaining games, I say you lose this week to Houston, because that Week 18 matchup with Tennessee, that's the key one right there. Okay, the number 5 seed Baltimore Ravens at 10-5, and the number 6 seeded Los Angeles Chargers at 9-6, both have locked up playoff spots. So there are no clinching scenarios for either team. There is some, however, for the 7-seeded Miami Dolphins at 8-7. Miami clinches a playoff berth with a win at New England, plus a New York Jets loss or tie to the Seahawks, or a Dolphins tie with the Patriots, plus a New York Jets loss in Seattle, and a Steelers loss or tie to the Ravens. All right, so the Patriots, Jets, Titans, and Steelers all at 7-8, and the Raiders at 6-9 are in the hunt. And as I said, Vegas has a very slim chance of getting in. Eliminated from the playoffs in the AFC are the 6-9 Cleveland Browns, the 4-10-1 Indianapolis Colts, the 4-11 Denver Broncos, and the 2-12-1 Houston Texans. Now we can go to the NFC, where the top seed is currently the Philadelphia Eagles with a 13-2 record. They've already clinched a playoff berth. Philly can claim the NFC East title with a win Sunday against New Orleans or a Dallas loss or tie tonight at Tennessee. The Eagles can claim the top seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs with a win against the Saints, or an Eagles tie with the Saints, plus a loss or tie by Minnesota, or a Cowboys loss or tie. The Vikings, by the way, are playing the Packers. Or with a Dallas loss, I should say, a Dallas loss tonight at Tennessee. Plus a Minnesota loss Sunday in Green Bay. Plus a San Francisco loss Sunday in Las Vegas. That's how Philly can claim the top seed. All right. The second seeded Minnesota Vikings at 12-3, winners of the NFC North. And the third seeded San Francisco 49ers at 11-4, winners of the NFC West. Both do not have clinching scenarios this week, as these two are mainly battling for that number 2 seed, which the Vikings presently have. The 4 seed right now would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7-8, and it's simple. They clinched the NFC South simply by beating the Carolina Panthers at home this week. The number 5 seed is the Dallas Cowboys, and they've clinched a playoff spot. They can lock into that number 5 spot by beating Tennessee, plus they would need the Giants to lose to the Colts. But if you ask me, looking at the standings, I think Dallas is firmly in that number 5 spot. But they can still catch the Eagles and win the NFC East and home field throughout the playoffs. That's still a possibility. All right, now we come to the number 6 seed, and that's the New York Giants at 8-6-1. And they have a lot of ways of getting in. The first of these is pretty simple. New York clinches a playoff berth with a win over Indianapolis. All right, now buckle in because there's a lot more here. Or the Giants tie the Colts. They would also need Seattle to lose or tie, and Washington to lose or tie. Or a Giants tie plus losses or ties by both Seattle and Detroit. Or a Giants tie plus a Washington loss or tie, plus a Detroit loss or tie, plus a Green Bay loss or tie. That doesn't happen. A Giants win or losses by Seattle and Washington, or losses by Seattle and Detroit, plus a Green Bay loss or tie. And then the final scenario has the Giants winning or tying, and straight out losses by Washington, Detroit, and Green Bay. Yeah, that's pretty confusing, don't you think? Okay, the 7 seed in the NFC presently is the Washington Commanders at 7-7-1. Washington clinches a playoff berth with a win against Cleveland, which should be easy. Plus, they need losses by both Seattle and Detroit, and a Green Bay loss or tie at home against Minnesota. And then Washington would be into the playoffs. And that would eliminate Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay all in that equation. All right, so in the hunt still are Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay, all at 7 and 8. Carolina and New Orleans, primarily in the NFC, both at 6 and 9. Eliminated from the playoffs are the Atlanta Falcons at 5 and 10. The Los Angeles Rams also at 5 and 10. The Arizona Cardinals at 4 and 11. And the Chicago Bears at 3 and 12. And with that, we have one more order of business to look at, and that's the overall playoff races in both the AFC and NFC, and we'll start with the AFC. Okay. So in the top seed in the AFC is the Buffalo Bills at 12 and 3, 800 win percentage, 3 and 2 division record, 8 and 2 conference record. Strength of schedule is 502. Strength of victory is 478. They own the tiebreaker head-to-head over Kansas City based on head-to-head win percentage. So this bumps the Kansas City Chiefs to 2 spot at 12 and 3 and an 800 win percentage. 4 and 0 versus the AFC West, 7 and 3 in the conference, 471 strength of schedule, 436 strength of victory. Number 3 and in the playoffs, the Cincinnati Bengals at 11 and 4, 733 win percentage, 2 and 3 division, 7 and 3 conference, 498 strength of schedule, 473 strength of victory. Number 4 is the Jacksonville Jaguars, the current leaders of the AFC South, at 7 and 8 and a 467 win percentage. 2 and 2 division, 6 and 4 conference, 504 strength of schedule, 519 strength of victory. Jacksonville owns the tiebreaker over Tennessee based on head-to-head win percentage. Number 5 and headed to the playoffs, the Baltimore Ravens at 10 and 5, 667 win percentage, 3 and 1 division record, 6 and 4 conference record, 478 strength of schedule, 404 strength of victory, or rather 440 strength of victory. Sorry about that. Number 6 and also headed to the playoffs, the Los Angeles Chargers, 9 and 6 with a 600 win percentage, 2 and 3 division, 7 and 4 in the conference, 453 strength of schedule, 348 strength of victory. And presently sitting in that 7th and final playoff spot, the Miami Dolphins at 8 and 7, 533 win percentage, 2 and 2 division, 6 and 4 conference, 549 strength of schedule, 454 strength of victory. And then you have 4 teams with matching records, just a game below the Dolphins. And one of those teams are lucky enough to play the Dolphins this week, and that's the New England Patriots. 7 and 8, 467 win percentage, 2 and 2 in the division, 5 and 5 in the conference, 496 strength of schedule, 405 strength of victory. And I'll read these tiebreakers in a second. The New York Jets are also 7 and 8 with a 467 win percentage, 2 and 3 division, 5 and 6 conference, 533 strength of schedule, 448 strength of victory. Also at 7 and 8 and a 467 win percentage is the Tennessee 3 and 2 division, 5 and 6 conference, 493 strength of schedule, 343 strength of victory. And the last of the 7 win teams are the Pittsburgh Steelers, 7 and 8, 467 win percentage, 1 and 3 division, 3 and 7 conference, 531 strength of schedule, 433 strength of victory. Now to these tiebreakers. New England owns the tiebreaker over Tennessee and Pitt based on best win percentage in conference games. The divisional tiebreaker was initially used to eliminate the New York Jets. New England wins the tiebreaker over New York based on head-to-head win percentage. They swept the Jets in their season series this year. New York, meanwhile, wins the tiebreaker over Tennessee based on best win percentage in common games, and would win the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh based on best win percentage in conference games. And Tennessee would win the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh for the same reason, best win percentage in conference games. So this brings us to 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. 12th place. The Las Vegas Raiders with less than a 1% shot at the playoffs. They're at 6-9, 400 win percentage, 3-2 division record, 5-6 conference, 422 strength of schedule, 372 strength of victory. They would win the tiebreaker over the Cleveland Browns based on best win percentage in conference games. The Cleveland Browns also at 6-9. They are eliminated from the playoffs. 400 win percentage, 3-2 division record, 4-7 in the conference, 527 strength of schedule, 483 strength of victory. At number 14, you've got the Indianapolis Colts, 4-10-1, 300 win percentage, 1-3-1 within the division, 4-6-1 in the conference, 529 strength of schedule, 483 strength of victory. Number 15 is the Denver Broncos, 4-11, 267 win percentage, 0-4 in the AFC West, 2-8 overall in the conference, 462 strength of schedule, 408 strength of victory. And last in the AFC, the Houston Texans at 2-12-1, 167 win percentage, 2-1-1 in the division, 2-7-1 in the conference, 504 strength of schedule, 467 strength of victory. All right, now we'll go to the NFC, where the Philadelphia Eagles are the top seed as of right now at 13-2, 867 win percentage, 3-2 within the division, 8-2 in the conference, 473 strength of schedule, 451 strength of victory. Number 2 and winners of the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, 12-3, 800 win percentage, 3-1 division, 7-3 conference, 500 strength of schedule, 453 strength of victory. Number 3 and winners of the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers, 11-4, 733 win percentage, 5-0 in the division, 9-2 in the conference, 424 strength of schedule, 433 strength of victory. The number 4 seed and current NFC South leaders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7-8, 467 win percentage, 3-1 division, 7-3 conference, 507 strength of schedule, 419 strength of victory. Number 5 or wild card spot number 1 is the Dallas Cowboys, 11-4, 733 win percentage, 4-1 division, 8-3 conference, 518 strength of schedule, 500 strength of victory. Number 6 is the New York Giants, 8-6-1, 567 win percentage, 1-3-1 in the division, and 4-6-1 in the conference, 527 strength of schedule, 417 strength of victory. Number 7, the Washington Commanders, 7-7-1, 500 win percentage, 1-3-1 division, 4-6-1 conference, 533 strength of schedule, 6 points higher than the Giants, and 400 strength of victory, 17 points lower than the Giants. On the outside looking in, you've got 3 teams with 7 wins, starting off with the Seattle Seahawks, 7-8, 467 win percentage, 3-2 division, 5-6 conference, 469 strength of schedule, 395 strength of victory. Then you have the Detroit Lions, also 7-8, 467 win percentage, 3-1 division, 5-5 conference, 569 strength of schedule, 495 strength of victory. And the last of the 7-win teams in the NFC, the Green Bay Packers, 7-8, 467 win percentage, 2-2 division, 5-5 conference, 524 strength of schedule, 419 strength of victory. As for the tiebreakers with these three, Seattle wins the tiebreaker over Detroit based on head-to-head win percentage. The divisional tiebreak was initially used to eliminate Green Bay, in which the Lions has that tiebreaker over the Packers based on head-to-head win percentage. All right, then you have the Panthers and Saints, both at 6-9, both with 400 win percentages. Carolina is 3-1 in the division, 5-5 in the conference, 460 strength of schedule, 400 strength of victory. New Orleans, also at 6-9 and 400, is 2-3 in the division, 4-6 in the conference, 484 strength of schedule, 378 strength of victory. Carolina wins the tiebreaker over New Orleans based on head-to-head win percentage. And officially eliminated from the playoffs are the following four teams. The Los Angeles Rams at 5-10, 333 win percentage, 1-4 in the division, 3-8 in the conference, 502 strength of schedule, 333 strength of victory. The Atlanta Falcons, also 5-10, 333 win percentage, 1-4 division, 4-6 conference, 478 strength of schedule, 440 strength of victory. Los Angeles wins the tiebreaker over Atlanta based on head-to-head win percentage. Also eliminated are the Arizona Cardinals at 4-11, 267 win percentage, 1-4 division, 3-7 conference, 520 strength of schedule, 383 strength of victory. And sitting in the basement of the NFC, you've got the Chicago Bears at 3-12, 200 win percentage, 0-4 in their division, and a putrid 1-9 in the conference. 558 strength of schedule, 456 strength of victory. All right, those are my Week 17 picks, plus the maps from all the Sunday afternoon games, the announcers for each game, clinching scenarios, and the updated playoff races entering Week 17. And yes, we are all set for the second to last week of this 2022 regular season. All right, so this is my last upload of 2022. I want to wish each and every one of you a very happy and very healthy new year, and I will see you in 2023. That said, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching through all of 2022. Enjoy the pigskin this weekend, and one more time, Happy New Year. Peace out.